OPR alone can impact the changes in the interest rates, or whether if the OPR is increased, whether that will help the strength of our local currency. So for that, I actually gave this answer, whereby let us assume that there are two countries, right, in Africa. Again, this is a very fictional example, right? And both these countries have interest rates of about 5%, right? And what it is let us assume that one day, and we are investors, right? We get to choose maybe country A or country B, right? And along with us, there are maybe more investors, right? So one day, assuming if country A increases interest rates from maybe 5 to 6%, right? So basically, what will happen is that if we have to recall over here that the interest rates is a reference rate for a lot of for a lot of returns for people depositing their money, right? So if say the interest rates were to increase, what will happen is that the if we put money in the FD, right, we will get more returns from our FD, right? So right now, again, back to the example, right? So there are two countries, and right now, what if country A increases their interest rates? So basically, since the interest rates is a reference rate where banks uses to give returns to their depositors, right? This would probably incentivize us to actually invest in country A, right? That being said, however, what if country B increases their interest rates from 5 to 7%? Would that increase alone impact investors to actually move their money from country A to country B? So quite recently, I came across this particular framework, which I thought it was quite useful, right? And this framework is called PESTEL, right? PESTEL, PESTEL, right? So let's go through it one by one. I thought it's quite an interesting framework, lah, right? So the first letter P stands for the political situation, right? Say for country B. Let's say right now the politics for country B, right? They are stable, right? So we are more inclined to invest in that particular country. That being said, however, if country B's politics is not so stable, every once in a while, there are talks about changes in leadership and whatnot, right? So us as investors, right, we want to actually have certainty for our investments, right? So if the politics is not so stable in a particular country, what may happen is that we will probably be very nervous to invest in that particular country, right? Second thing about the politics for a country is whether the country, whether it's free from any wrongdoing, lah, right? Or any illicit funds, lah, basically, or corruption, right? So right now, if country B is a very clean country, there is a high chance for us to invest in that particular country. That being said, however, if the country is, has a couple of scandals, right? Again, as investors, right, even though there's an increase in the interest rates for country B, but by looking at the political situation, right, sometimes we may feel nervous and we are not inclined to actually invest in that particular country, right? So that's P with regards to politics. E stands for the economy of a particular country, right? Again, let us say right now the country's B's economy, right? It's not doing so well. In fact, it's actually going downwards in terms of their GDP, right? Or the country has been at a standstill for many years, right? So if a country is at a standstill, it will not incentivize us to put the money in that particular country. That being said, if the country's economy is growing, and on top of that, there's so many different types of opportunities for investors to masuk, right? So of course, we as investors, we will feel comfortable putting our investments in that particular country, right? So the example which I gave, right, is again two countries, right? One is M and one is S. let us say that M and S used to be same countries, and when they broke from each other, S actually decides to focus on port services, right? This is where they were their country becomes one of the busiest spots in the world. So a lot of foreign inflow actually went into that particular country, right? And on top of that, recently they have embarked into financial services, and even the financial services, a lot of ASEAN countries actually started putting their money within that particular country, and they became one of the biggest financial hubs, right? So needless to say, if a lot of money is actually flowing in the country S, what will basically happen is their currency would appreciate. Again, it's all about supply and demand, right? So if the demand for a particular currency increases, what tends to happen is that their currency would also strengthen, right? So that's with regards to the economy, right? The second thing about the economy is also with regards to the inflation, right? Whether the inflation is in check. Say right now, right? If a country's inflation is going way out of hand and people, find it more and more difficult to find maybe food, and people are getting hungry, right? What will happen is probably, some social unrest, right? So again, it's very important to also look at the inflation for a particular country, right? And aside from that, is also the employment, right? Whether people has jobs, whether if the unemployment rate is high, also it's not good for the economy, right? And we as investors also will probably feel very nervous putting the money in that particular country. So again, boiling down everything, right? With regards to the I guess the statement whether OPR alone can help strengthen the currency or our currency. Yes, but only to a small extent. There are a lot of other factors that we have to look at, right? Or investors will look at before investing in a particular country. And like I said, assuming that there are two countries, country A and country B, right? If country A and country B, their politics, their economy, right, and everything is all equal. Government is the same. The economy is the same, right, and also socially also they're the same. Everything is the same. So it's just a matter of the interest rates. So if country A's interest rate is higher, so we are incentivized to invest in country A. That being said, we have to look at a lot of factors. Like I said, the politics for the particular country. We also have to look at the economics for the particular country, right? And and other factors, right? So it's not as easy to as saying if interest rate goes up, people are inclined to actually invest in that particular country. There's a lot of other factors which go around it, right? That makes a particular country attractive for investors to invest in. So I hope that answers that particular question. Again, if you have any questions in the future, please put it down in the comment section. If not, I'll see you guys in the upcoming episode. Take care, guys.